Hey, AI agents in a nutshell. All the resources that I used in this video will be available to you through email. You can check the link in the description. It will contain roadmap that we followed, quiz, quick notes, presentation I used, the architectural flow of the whole AI agent, and other references. Enjoy the video. Bye bye. All right, so welcome everyone to the AI agent workshop webinar. So we are covering in two parts, as I told you. The first one will be we will understand the landscape, we'll understand how everything works, how AI agent works, and in the second part we will build one. Okay, we'll build our first AI agent. Okay, and I will show you certain tools that you can follow. Okay, so uh, without further ado, let's start. So this is a presentation I created. So let's start with this. Um, Along the way, I will cover certain things. Some resources I will share with you, and some of the references that I am following in this session. Okay. So this is the complete roadmap that I shared with you. Okay. So let me show that you show that particular part first. So there are different modules in this. So you can consider that as different modules. So we'll start with introduction, then we understand some core capabilities, how it works. We are going to build our agent. We'll understand some evaluation and other things. And along with that, we are going to see some applications, and that's it. I added a quiz here, so you can follow that quiz. And after the session, I will share some quick notes about this. So if you don't want to go through the whole lecture, you can just check this notes. Okay, there is nothing right now, but after the session, I will add those parts. Okay, some more tools and templates will be needed. So everything will be available here. So this is the roadmap that I shared with you. Okay, you will find all the resources inside it. Okay, some of the references I used in this whole webinar. Okay, so these are the references. So anything that I'm covering today, you can find it in these links in detail. Okay, so I am covering these links. Okay, so let's start with the session. Okay, so this is my um, first thing, that is AI agents in a nutshell. So this is the name of the whole webinar. Okay, and we are getting started with AI agents. Okay, you have heard a lot of noise around AI agents. Okay, and these are uh, nothing but you can consider those as some automation, or you can consider those as something happening automatically without our intervention or a human intervention. Okay, so it is not similar with other technologies that you have heard of. Okay, not similar in the sense that there are certain properties and features we have given to these kind of agents so that they work better as compared to previous terminologies or previous techniques you have used. Okay, so in these AI agent webinar, what are some fundamentals? So these are some fundamentals that I'm going to show you, and later on after that we will move forward. Okay, so before understanding what agents are, let's understand some key pointers. So first thing is large language model. So large language models are uh, nothing but the starting point of those large language model was transformers. Okay, so you have heard of transformers. So transformers are you can consider those as big neural network architectures. Those neural network architectures will have neurons, obviously, and uh, there are thousands and thousands of neurons available, and using those neurons it is going to generate some output to you. You can consider large language model as a big computer which understand our natural language. Okay, That's why we call them language models. Okay. And we use large, that means they are big in terms of um, understanding and in generalizing the whole language. Okay. So think of initially when there was programming. So if you want to interact with a computer, you needed a programming language. Okay. Or before that, you needed binary language. So if you want to explain something to a computer, you needed a binary language. Okay. But after that, they come up with how we can say something in English. So the close we can come up with English is programming language. So if you want to give instruction to a system, you need programming language. Okay. So they created C language, then C++, Java, and so many other languages like Python. Okay. So if you want to give instruction to a system, you come up with programming language. But now, if you want to interact with the system, you don't need programming language. You can directly interact with English language. Okay. So you have already seen this example. If you write something or ask something to ChatGPT or Claude or any other uh, language model tool, you can easily get the answer. Okay, correct. So that is what large language model is. And behind that large language model, the technology they are using is transformers. Okay, so let me show you an example. The research paper behind that was um, attention is all you need. Okay, so this is the research paper behind the technology. Okay, so you can read about this research paper. You can find the whole research paper here. So I'm not going into that detail, but understand that this is the starting point of transformers. Okay, this is the first time somebody introduced transformers. Okay, they were solving the problem which you have faced in other neural network architectures like RNNs, LSTM. Okay, so there were certain problems with RNN and LSTM. So let me quickly give you an example for that. So think in ChatGPT, if you write something, okay, and later on you use that name, or you ask certain question and the conversation is going on, and after so long conversation, you ask something that you asked earlier in the chat. Okay, so that way the ChatGPT already know what you are talking about. Okay, so there is a reference long time ago that the ChatGPT is already know in your conversation in a particular session. Okay, so what is this? This is dependencies, or you can say the concept of attention. Okay, just like we do. If I give you a paragraph to read about anything, what you are going to do, you are going to only remember key pointers. Okay, this is how human brain works, or this is how we read something. Okay, we read things in a scannable manner. We cannot remember everything from our books from childhood to till now just by um, what we call it, just by word to word. Okay, if I ask something, what is some any question, if I ask you, you cannot answer word by word. You only answer in terms of some important information that you keep to yourself. Okay, in a similar way, the attention work. This is what attention is. And this is how large language model works, or chat gpt works. What they do, they keep important information to themselves, and if you ask something related to it, you will get an answer. Okay, so that's the problem with RNNs. You will find the example of RNN here on Google Translate. Okay, so you can translate something from one language to another. Okay, um, this is not mandatory that you are going to get exact same number. You are the best player. Okay, so you are converting that language into something else. So if I changed it to, let's say, Spanish, so you can see that there are 5 letters in English, but after conversion there are 4 letters in Spanish. Okay, so how you are going to convert that? So this is example of language translation. Okay, so you need to understand the context of it. If you understand the context, it will be easy to convert into another language. Okay, because you cannot just convert in word by word. Okay, you convert through context. Okay, so that's more important. So you can do this in simple or smaller letters like paragraphs maximum. Okay, sentence and paragraphs using RNNs. But RNNs will not work on large samples. Okay, but in ChatGPT you can enter a long document. You can see different tools now available. You can upload your documents and it will work fine. Okay, you can upload your documents, large documents of like 2 lakh words and so on, and it will give you answers. Okay, so that's the difference between transformers and RNNs. Okay, so in the problem with RNNs are solved in transformers. Okay, now as you know that transformer is the starting point, and there are some other AI research happened. Okay, now there are a lot of other things you should keep in mind, uh, but you can find different um, research papers on this particular website. Okay, so you can check this particular website for different research papers. Okay, so this is a good source you can learn from. And one more thing, I share what we call it, paper unfold. So this is a series in which I break down different research papers in pointer format, so you can find certain things like this. So agents are not enough is one of the example, transformer is another example, so we'll come to that later on. Okay, but for now this is what language model is, and the starting point was transformer. Now let's understand some 2 to 3 things. One is this. So this is the website I found, which is AI agents directory, and it is kind of a landscape. So you can see based on January 2025, there are different categories and there are more than 700 agents. Okay, so you can find different tools for agents. Some of them you already heard of. Okay, some of them can be found on GitHub, and some of them can be found on different platforms. Maybe you have heard of some tools, maybe not, but as you move forward and think of different um, agents, you will find different agents. Okay, for different purpose. For example, this is email AI agent. So if you want to automate your emails, if you want to automate something else related to emails, reply to emails, and so on. So this is what these type of tools you are going to use. Okay, there are other tools like in different categories, website builder. Okay, these are website builder, music AI agent, and so on. Okay, so there are a lot of different agents available, so you can search based on whatever you want. Okay, now one more thing, there's one more AI agent in the wild. So this is a landscape they created, so you can think of in terms of coding. So we have coding. Okay, we have in the coding section, the closed source are these, and these are open source. So you can go for open source if you want. Okay, something like Agent GPT and other. This is based on July 2023, but after that uh, there are a lot of different tools that are available to you that you can use. Okay, so these are some Copilot X and so on. These are closed source, so there's no source code available to you, so you cannot customize that, but there are so many other tools that are open source. Okay, so we'll look at some examples for them as well. Okay, so these are landscapes, so there's a lot of work going on already, so there is no such thing as this is new. Okay, so you can see this agent work was already been started in 2023, but in 2024 they come up with different tools, and there's a boom after I think May June in last year. So they come up with different automation agents and so on. Okay, so that's what is happening here. Okay, now let's get back to our presentation. Okay, so now you understand that, okay, it is related to large language model. An agent is ultimately using large language models. Okay, and some of the basics. Okay, now The next thing here is this. Okay, so this is our agenda for today, that we are going to understand what AI agents are and we are going to implement them as well. Okay, obviously some complex implementation needs some more time from us, but for now, as we are starting with this, this is completely fine. This is a completely fine session for a beginner. Okay, now let's move forward with, this is the AI agent. Let's move forward with what we are going to cover today. So there are some introduction part, as I already shared the roadmap with you. Okay, so this is introduction part. Then we have core capabilities, why they are different, like why AI agents are different, how AI agent works. Okay, so I already created a flow chart to explain you everything. Okay, and we are going to build our first AI agent. Obviously, that is the most important part. Okay, and after that we have some evaluation and failure modes. Okay, so in which there's a lot of research going on right now, because because we have to increase the efficiency as well. So that's most important here. Okay, and last thing is use cases and application, which is we can continuously talk about that in our closed group, or if you want to interact with other community members. So that is the thing. Okay, let's move forward with the introduction part. So what is an AI agent, some key components, agentic system, and the value. Okay, so let's move forward with what are AI agents. Okay, so agents is something which is similar to agents like us. Okay, and we give a task to an agent. For example, it can be an insurance agent, it can be a car dealership agent, and so on. Okay, you can compare with those people also. So you give a task to them that I want to buy a car, or I want an insurance for my family, or a medical insurance, or a home insurance, or whatever insurance it is. Okay, so you give a task to it, to that particular agent, and it is going to come up with a personalized solution to you. Okay, because maybe your family member, there are a lot of family members you have. Okay, there are a few family members you have. Okay, so there is a lot of different cases for different people. Okay, in a similar way, this agent work. So it is kind of a program. A program is nothing but a part of a software. Okay, and this program is nothing but it execute something in a particular environment. That environment can be a preset of installed libraries. It can be preset of integration with different large language models and so on. Okay, so these are specifically for solving complex tasks. So how it is different from automation? So think in terms of in automation you have pre-written scripts. Okay, you have to specify pre-written scripts. So scripts can be in terms of um, scripts can be anything. If you are automating anything, for example, automatic reply to an email. So what happens if you enter something on a company's website? Okay, you get an automated email. That email says that our team will reach out to you in 24 hours. You have seen this this is a common example. Okay, so this is a automation example. Okay, but when we talk about personalization, when we talk about something that a quick reply they will get, our customer will get when they reach out to us. Okay, okay, because this is so machinely. We humans don't like machines. We like machines, but we don't want somebody. We don't want to interact or solve our problems without human intervention. Okay, if they are not perfect. For example, if I get this automated email that our company will reach out to you, it is not that great as compared to if a person actually reach out to me. Okay, this is the thing, this is what we do, and thank you for showing interest, and these are the scheduled dates if you want to schedule a meet with our engineering team, and so on. Okay, so there can be something better than just an automated email. Okay, so AI agent, how AI agent is different than a any LLM is LLM is trained on a specified data set. Okay, so there's a particular data set available and the LLM is trained on it. But AI agent have the access of different tools, okay, external data sources. Like you can see this example, like the agent is going to access different APIs. It can search on the web. It will access any kind of vector database, SQL databases, and then respond to you. For example, you have seen this error that if you ask something in real time within large language model, it will be an issue. That's why they come up with a solution called RAG, okay, retrieval augmented generation, okay, which is nothing but accessing those data sets that our model is not trained on. Okay, so when you think of LLMs are very good at understanding English language. They can create patterns. They can create relationship between words. They can create. They understand the phrases. Okay, there's a huge relationship between different words. As humans, we understand that because for a long period of time we are reading in English language. Okay, in a similar way, if I give this power to a machine to read whole text on the internet, it will create different patterns, different ways how different words are connected to each other. And that's the whole thing of large language model. Okay, they are very good at English language. Okay, so if one thing they are not good at is accessing different data sources, so how we can provide that? Okay, so I want an agent to interact like an LM do, like in a human way. Okay, so whatever I am saying in any language or creating any spelling mistakes or whatever, it will understand everything and it will respond to me that way. Also, it will access different tools, techniques, and solve my problem, even if that problem is a complex problem. Okay, that's the whole point of an AI agent. Okay, so it should solve a particular problem. I don't want it to solve all problems, but I want some specific problem. For example, the email automation part. So if somebody email to my company or email to me personally, how I can respond to them quickly, but in a good manner, not in an automated manner. Okay, so based on user's query, it is going to respond in that way. Okay, so um, it will be like prompt replies, you can say that. Okay, so that's what an agent is. Okay, so it's a program which will have the access or of certain tools other than LLMs. Okay, and will respond in a good way. Okay, it will save time for me, and it will also have the access on which the LLM is not trained on. Okay, so that's the whole point of AI agent. Now, AI agents are best if they are simply created. Okay, these are some research I will show you by different companies. The company who created Claude, okay, similar to ChatGPT, you already heard of that. Okay, so I will show the link. I already added in the reference, but they are saying that if you want to build the best AI agent, make sure it is simple. Okay, don't make it complex. And simple, that means it is doing a specific task. If you be more specific with AI agent to do one thing only, it will give you a good result. Okay, if you give it a multiple task, so multiple generalized tasks, so it is similar to then LLMs are not good with specific tasks. Okay, they also don't calculate um, they also don't solve mathematical problems, okay, correctly. Okay, there are so many issues. You have seen this, like that 2 plus 2 is 5, and he said so the agent will say that 2 plus 2 is 4, and if you say no, it's 5, so it will say yeah, it's 5. Okay, like that. So it is good with language but not with mathematical complex tasks. Okay, so what we are doing, we are solving this problem. Okay, let's move forward. These are the three major components of an agent. Okay, model, tools, and orchestration layer. So we'll come to this particular part. Okay, these are just components. So I will cover this individually in how agent work. Okay, so this is what the three parts of an agent. So you need these three things to um, work with or create an agent. Okay, even if you are creating with LangChain, or you can say creating with any programming language like Python or any framework like LangChain. Okay, or you are using any tool. Okay, so these are the things you need. Some of the things will be taken care by the platform if you are using a tool to create an AI agent. Okay, and if not, you can code it also. Okay, so that's the thing. So these are the key components of an agent. So I'm coming back to this particular slide. Okay, but these are the three things you should keep in mind. So I'm coming to that in some time. Okay, now these are the things. When you talk about agentic systems, they are mainly of two types. Okay, so agentic systems are basically using large language models to solve a particular problem. Okay, it can be some automated problem, or they are defined steps to solve a problem, and or the agent want to make a decision. Okay, how agents are different. Agents can take a decision on behalf of you based on whatever rules you have set, or whatever um, information you shared with them. Okay, so agents are better in this particular case. Okay, so they can make decision by themselves. So when you talk about agentic systems, they are basically of two types. Okay, so two types can be workflows and agents. Okay, this is by again agentic sorry Anthropic, I think. They come up with these two things. Okay, just a second, let me show that to you. uh, this one. Okay, so they come up with this blog which is building effective agents. Okay, so this is a good blog, you can read about it. So there's a very detailed blog, and when you talk about these things, there are two options you have, that is workflows and agents. Okay, um, this is what agentic systems are. Now the question is, okay, what about workflows? So we are not going towards workflows today. Okay, this is again a big topic, so we'll cover that later on. So workflows are where you will have a predefined code available, predefined code paths available. They can be prompt chaining, routing, parallelization, and so on. Okay, so there are different ways you can achieve that. You will find that in the same blog I shared with you. Okay, but this is not the focus of today's webinar. So this is our two types. Let's jump to the second type, that is agents. Okay, so when we talk about agents, so as I told you, these are um, using LLMs. Okay, and these agents are making decisions based on some tools that are available and based on whatever the query user is throwing at them. Okay, that's what these agents are. Okay, so this is a simple flow that um, that an agent look like. There is a human interaction with the LLM call. There is an action going on with the environment. So environment is in which your agent is working. Okay, agent is again a program, and which is solving a particular query given by a user. It will give feedback to the LLM, and LLM is going to take an action, and this cycle repeats until the actual goal that the user gave to you is solved. And once it is solved, it will stop. Okay, so think in terms of what a human do. For example, if faculty gave you a task, or you are working in a company and they give you a task, so what will happen is, consider yourself as the model or a large language model. Okay, so a task is given to by your boss. You will take action in a particular environment. For example, it's a develop you are a developer, so you're going to take an action towards development. That, okay, I created a front end, or I created a back end, I created certain things with my software knowledge. Okay, and I'm going to take a feedback from myself or my team member or my team lead. Okay, I'm going to again take an action in my same environment and take feedback until I reach that particular solution which my team asked me for or my boss asked me for. Okay, so that's what exactly happened with us. Okay, so we are trying to replicate the same thing with machines. Okay, if you talk about yourself, or we as humans, we are replacing ourselves with this large language model which understand English and help us do a particular task. Okay, but what we want again with that is it should take decision on its own. Okay, take an action, take a feedback, take an action, take a feedback. This particular loop will continuously uh, iterate, and it will come to a solution by its own. Okay, there can be human intervention. For example, if I want to give human feedback, so if I continuously give my feedback to my agent, it will be very good to solve a particular problem. Okay, but the issue is I cannot do that for a long period of time. Okay, so that will be fine if I completely focus on um, uh, creating an agent initially, and later on the agent will do a specific task for me without human intervention. Okay, so you can replicate this with yourself. So this is a basic thing you should focus on. Okay, so this is what a basic flow of a agent look like. Okay, it uses iterative process, it uses an environment in which it works, and there's a large language model involved, okay, to understand human language. Okay, so that's the whole point of agents. Okay, now there are two major things with agents. So these are the two important parts of an agent that makes an agent different from other LLMs or other tools available. Okay, and what those capabilities are: one is tools, and the second one is planning. So think about, if I ask you to build an application, let's say I am a team lead and I'm asking you or assigning you a task. So the task is you have to create your own, or not you have to create, you have to create a to-do list application. Okay, using certain tools. Okay, using certain frameworks. And if I don't give you access to these tools, for example, you want to build in Next.js or JavaScript or Python in any application, if I don't give you tools, tools can be your laptop, tools can be the software, VS Code, the code editors, the internet access, these are the things. Okay, internet access for you to search on the internet and come up with a solution. Okay, how to build a to-do app. Okay, if I don't give you these tools, so you are not be able to build that. Okay, that's how a tool make you more efficient. Okay, so that's what a tool is. Okay, got the idea? So tool is going to help you do certain things. For example, if I give you or ask you certain questions, if I ask you certain questions of mathematics, so that add these two things. Okay, add this solve this particular mathematical problem, and if I don't give you a calculator, it will be difficult for you to calculate it. Okay, I'm talking about bigger calculations. Okay, so that's the power of a tool. A tool will help you solve a particular problem. Okay, so in a similar way, tools can be anything. It can be a laptop, it can be Google Chrome so that you can serve the internet, it can be a calculator, it can be a calendar, it can be anything. Okay, API, it can be an API also. Okay, so that's what the power of an AI agent is. So these are the core capability that the agent have. Okay, so there are different types of tools available. We'll come to this. Okay, I'm explaining that in detail through my how AI agents work. Okay, but tools is what you understand that. Okay, these can be anything which will help you solve a particular problem. Okay, the second thing, the capability of an AI agent is, the second thing is your planning. Okay, so second thing is planning. So planning means how the agent is going to break down the whole problem. For example, if I gave you the task of create an to-do app, okay, and gave you all the tools, VS Code, give you a laptop, give you internet access and everything, so you are going to build that, but there should be a planning involved in building that application. Okay, so in a similar way, how I can replicate this planning with an AI agent? Okay, so there are different methods for the planning, but planning is ultimately similar to, you can think of it is part of this environment as well as LLM feedback. Okay, so using these two things, you are going to plan, okay, or our model is going to plan. Okay, as humans we can plan with our teammates, we can use different tools, we can think of these kind of flows like, okay, starting with an interface, front end interface, then we'll come up with some buttons on the application, there will be backend involved and so many things. Okay, if you want to build an to do application. Okay, in a similar way, if you give this task to a AI agent, the AI agent should create certain steps. Just like you ask ChatGPT, okay, give me a roadmap to learn Python. So it will give you a step-by-step roadmap to learn Python. Okay, in a similar way, the planning part is ultimately certain steps that your agent is going to take. In those steps, there can be in those steps there can be cases in which the AI agent want to access a tool. It can be a calculator, it can be a code editor, it can be surfing on the internet and so on. Okay, so these are the two major parts of any AI agent. Okay, so these are the two major parts. Okay, so um, that's it. Okay, let me come to the next part, that is the most important part of how AI agent work. So as I told you that how these core capabilities are, what these core capabilities are, and how exactly it plans. Okay, so to orchestrate everything or to understand how AI agent exactly work, these are the three sections we have. So I created a flow chart here. Okay, so I'm using a tool called Excalidraw. So it's a free tool, an open source, you can directly use that. Okay, so what I'm doing with this particular tool is I created a flow of the whole thing, that how everything works in this. Okay, so let me show you how AI agent architecture look like, and how the flow of the data or the query from the user is. Okay, so think of this interface as, this is, you are passing a query and the agent is giving you a response. You can think of this as um, like if you are interacting with any chatbot. So this is how you give a query and this is how you get a response. Okay, got it? So think of in terms of, if you are giving an instruction to a particular agent and based on it, it is generating a response. Not always it is going to generate a response, because there can be certain tools it is going to use and automate certain scripts or run certain things. Okay, but if the agent is created in such a way to give you a response, for example, I created a scheduler, let's say. Okay, and if I give instruction to schedule a meeting with all my classmates for an AI agent webinar, so it will automatically give you, all of you, as an email that the session will be on this time. This is a Google Meet link. Everyone is a guest in it. I will be the host of it, and so on. Okay, if I give this instruction, so it will break down everything, use certain tools, plan everything, and create the whole thing in seconds. Okay, so right now what I am doing for scheduling this webinar is I'm creating a message, I'm creating a Google Meet link, I sharing everything individually in different groups, sharing on my newsletter that I'm going to host it. And there's a lot of other things also, somebody asking certain questions, what is going to be covered in the webinar, and so on. Okay, so there's a lot of things going on which can be automated through an agent. Okay, now how it is going to work? So query is something a user is going to give you. Okay, and this query will be kind of a trigger. You can consider it as a trigger which will start something, start a particular process. Okay, now as I told you, there are three parts of an AI agent: tools, models, orchestration layer. Okay, tools you understand, models is nothing but LLM models, any kind of models using Claude or ChatGPT or any other platform. We are coming to that. Okay, so we use Grok, we use Pinecone and some other things for different cases, but we are coming to that. Okay, whenever user give a query, it will trigger the orchestration layer. Okay, this is what an orchestration layer look like. Okay, so orchestration layer majorly have a particular set of variables which will hold certain things. Okay, it will hold the memory. Memory is you already know about this. Okay, you already know about this. What it means? It means that let's say you're chatting with ChatGPT and it is going to save your conversation. Okay, that's what the memory is. Okay, memory of a particular session. You will see some examples in Notebook LM. So it is not going to save your chat. Okay, they are not saving the chat. Okay, so memory is something that your conversation is going to be saved somewhere. Okay, but some tools will not give you this access, some tools will give you. But ultimately, when you talk about AI agents, so AI agents orchestration part will look like this. Okay, they have a memory, they have a state, on which state my current flow is happening, what are the variables I should store. It can be user query, it can be something which is coming from a query, that book webinar for with all my students and mail them about the webinar on 15th in the morning and schedule a meet for it. So this is a query I'm giving to a agent. Okay, so orchestration layer will store certain things in memories. Okay, there is a state in every second. State is something that in a particular time frame or in a particular time, what are the variable values? Simple terms, variable values. Okay, state is similar to any session on a website. Okay, in this state, this whole thing is saved. Okay, there's no login, there's no certain things with my, there's no login sign up. This tool is directly using my cache memory or okay. So that's what the state is. State is going to save certain variable values for a particular, for a specific time period or for a particular time. Okay, there's a reasoning and planning. Okay, as I told you, two major things about AI agent. One is the tools it is going to use: calculator, calendar, Google Drive, any kind of API, Google search, these type of tools. And the second thing it is going to use is planning. Okay, so planning is the most important part. Okay, so for reasoning and planning, that this particular thing should be done first, this particular thing should be done later. So you have to create a Google Meet. After that, you can send a guest session request to all other people. Okay, so that should be your first priority. Okay, so as humans we understand this, but to a model to understand that, so there's a reasoning and planning going on. Okay, so when you talk about reasoning and planning, it uses prompt engineering. Okay, so there are certain frameworks it is going to use. Framework is there's a set of rules for a particular problem to be solved. Okay, there's reasoning and planning around it. So you have heard of these three things. Okay, these are three different frameworks it uses. There are a lot of different frameworks, but these are the major frameworks. One is React, that is reasoning and action. Okay, based on the user query or certain prompts we already created, predefined prompts, it is going to reason that I'm going to act in this way. I'm going to access this Google Drive tool. I'm going to access Google Meet tool to create a webinar, or I'm going to access your calendar, Google Calendar, to schedule a meet in the morning. Okay. In the same way, there's a chain of thoughts. So this is another framework it is going to use, that what is the next step it is going to take. Okay, in that query, that in the schedule, as I said, the first thing it is going to do is create a flow, that this is the reasoning I did and these are the steps I'm going to take. And there can be certain things or cases when in the third step it realized that okay, I have to take the second step first, or I have to take the fifth step first. So in that manner. Okay, so as I said, it is iterative. Okay, it is working on action and feedback. Okay, so based on that, it is going to create a chain of thoughts, that the first thing will do this, and after in the intermediate step, this thing will do the in a sequence manner. Okay, so these are the uh, chain of thoughts that it is going to solve or use. Okay, there is another framework it is going to use, that is tree of thoughts. Okay, so it is going to look forward, just like, let's take an example of a chess. So in chess, what happens is we think of any move, or we move in any way after thinking of next move prior to that particular action. Okay, so in a similar way, the tree of thoughts work. So there is a node, and that node will have A and B option, and further A and B have C and D option, and B have E and F option, like that, kind of a tree. Okay, you can think of a decision tree in this case, or think of any tree data structures in data structures. Okay, so tree of thoughts will look like this. There's a strategic way of looking at things from one particular node, and there can be multiple cases of that particular problem. Okay, so in that way, these are the frameworks it is going to use. Okay, these frameworks have a proper structure through which the agent is going to take a action. Okay, as I said, it will first create a invite, create a link for the webinar, and then it is going to create um, pick all the emails from my newsletter and send everyone an invite for that particular webinar. Okay, so these are the steps it is going to do. Okay, also it will update me that you are going to host this. These are the timing. These are the people I already shared the invite with, and these are your guests. You are the host, and these are the information it is going to respond me with. Okay, but in the whole case, there is a flow to it. Okay, to flow to it, to solve that flow, it is going to use these frameworks. Okay, now what next it is going to do? Now, as I said, to understand uh, what I'm trying to say to a AI agent, it is going to use a model. Okay, so what are the two things we have? Three things we have. One is the model, one is the orchestration layer, and the other thing is tools. Okay, so when you talk about orchestration layer, these are the things. Okay, reasoning and planning, everything is going on, and this orchestration layer is going to interact with the model. Now you think of who gave this flow. So it is from Google. I think not this one, not this one, but yeah, the link is already added to your this one, I think. Okay, so this is the white paper by Google. So I included this one. So they come up with this flow. You can think of this model, tools, orchestration layer. Okay, so based on it, I created this flow. Now, uh, the model is nothing but your LLM. So LLM will help you create or understand English language. It is going to understand or reason things based on the logic it is creating, or based on these frameworks we are using. Okay, so model is ultimately helping you to create a decision or extract something from the text data. So if I gave you the instruction of schedule a webinar for all my students on Google Meet and for this particular time. So in this query, even if it's a it's a audio, it is going to convert that into text format. Then it will extract important numbers from it, that this is the time, this is the date, this is the student I'm talking about. What students? So student can be Excel sheet, or it can be email list, or whatever. Okay, so it is going to understand what I'm trying to say, the context and intent behind it, and it is going to create the whole flow. Okay, so after reasoning and planning, it is going to take the steps, and to take the steps you need the most important thing, which is a tool. Okay, so it can be it is going to decide what tools to use. As I said, schedule a meet on Google Meet. Okay, so it is going to access, it should access Google Meet. Okay, so obviously I have to give the access through APIs and other things, so that the automation script should authenticate. Otherwise Google is um, not going to give me access. So that's why I need API keys for that, so Google can authenticate this request. Okay, but the tools are, as I said, it can be calculator, it can be scheduler, it can be Google Drive, it can be any kind of Google, it can be can be any API point, web search, vector database. Okay, um, so that's what a tool is. Now tools can be of different types. So major types of tools are extensions, functions, and data stores. Okay, so extensions are basically accessing any kind of API. Okay, it can be um, like bridging the gap between an agent and API. API can be anything. It can be Google search. For example, if I request an API, the API is going to respond with something. It can be a success message, it can be a JSON file, which will contain a lot of different things. Okay, now the agent should understand that this API contains all these information, and this particular API response, I only want this particular part of it. Okay, so if you ever encounter any API, you already know about how it responded. It will give you key value pairs. Okay, so as humans we can judge, or as a coder we can easily access those through objects and everything, but the tool have to come up with a way in which it is going to access only important information. Okay, so API is, it is searching on the Wikipedia, let's say, and Wikipedia responded with a solution along with all other information. Okay, but the tool should understand that I don't want all the information, I want only the Wikipedia information that the user asked me for. Okay, so these kind of decisions an AI agent should take to come up with a proper solution or an automated solution. Okay, similar to that extension, we have functions. Functions are similar to programming functions. So you created some predefined tools or predefined functions. Functions are similar, like print function, or it can be type function, it can be some function to some values, it can be anything, data frame functions, or so many other functions are available. Okay, so you can create your own functions for a specific task. So if somebody asks you to calculate the what will be the EMI if I take a loan of $1 million, okay, what will be the monthly EMI? So this is the question. Okay, now now the LLM cannot answer that correctly, because LLM cannot access calculator, or LLM cannot access the logic behind how to calculate the monthly EMI of $1 million. This is only going to answer that because if somebody ever answered this question on the internet, and on that data my model is trained on. So it is giving you an answer of, okay, the monthly EMI will be $100,000 or $80,000, like that. Okay, but if it is not written somewhere, the tool need to calculate that. And to calculate that, if I created a function already for the same, okay, because let's say the AI agent is for finance domain, for a particular task of calculating the uh, EMI. Okay, so function, I created the function, and the function will be executed. Okay, got it. So it is going to respond certain things, that this will be the correct way, this will be the correct EMI, and the model will respond to the user. Okay, so you understand the problem. The problem is not all the solutions you can get from a model. Okay, and you can get from a model, but there is no guarantee it is correct. Okay, in the similar way, if we talk about tools, so tools have a predefined functions which are created by us for a specific task, and it will calculate everything correctly. Okay, but one more issue you will get here, that what parameters you are going to pass into the function. Okay, what are the values? That $1 million will be passed here. How many months are there in a year? That is 12 months. How many years of loan you are talking about? So these are the parameters. Okay, and the model, the agent should correctly define these are the parameter and pass through these functions. Then only you are getting a correct answer. Okay, that's why they are saying that the AI agent should be in a simpler format. You cannot make it complex, only make it for a specific problem. Okay, now you can create a lot of different AI agents. Let's say for your company, you created 1000 AI agents. Every AI agent is for a specific task. Then only it will give you an efficient response. Okay, the third thing a tool can access is a data store. Okay, the data store can be vector database, any website content, or if I want to give my own data stores to this AI agent, so I can do that. For example, I stored some of the information on Google Drive and I want my agent to access that. Okay, so it can be accessed through vector database. When we talk about vector databases, vector is nothing but the let me show you an example for that if you are confused. So think in terms of this. So this is my newsletter. I shared a blog on this, which is how machine looking at human words. So what will happen? There's a uh, library from Stanford, okay, which is word2vec. Okay, word2vec is word is converted into vectors. Okay, and vectors are nothing but numerical values. Okay, so this is a simple function. You can check the database here. Every word come up with a particular vector representation like this. If you pass Python, it will give you vector representation like this. Now this is not for us, this is for the system to understand. If you pass another word, it will give you a vector representation like this. Okay, so vector representation are not for us, this is for the system, and system will only understand in numbers. Okay, even if you give anything like words or images or videos or audios, it will ultimately convert all of those as numbers. Okay, and through so cosine similarity you can uh, compare two words like cat and dog are close to each other, that means the probability is 92. Okay, cat and piano are not close to each other, so the probability is different. So if you plot everything out, you will see that refrigerator owns um, this microwave, these are close to each other. Okay, fan, light, LED bulb, these are close to each other. Battery charger are close to each other. Okay, so how you are getting this? Because vector representation are built in certain way. Okay, you can find this detail here. Okay, so that's what happens in this case. Vector database, all the information you're giving towards the system, it is going to convert it into number format so that the model will quickly access that and will understand what exactly that data is. That's what vector database is. Okay, so we will go in depth with this, but that is not the focus of today's webinar. But you got the idea that ultimately vector database is nothing but the number representation of any data. It can be text, images, or your information on Google Drive or anything. Okay, structured and unstructured. Unstructured is images, text, videos. Okay, these are unstructured. Structured is the relational databases you use, Excel sheets and all. Okay, So that's the whole point of using tools. Okay, understanding things, using tools. These tools output will be passed to orchestration layer, based on which it is going to store in memory, do the reasoning and planning again, save the states, and will going to interact with the model again. So this process will repeat itself until it will generate an output that is a agent response, or any kind of tool execution going on, that okay, I schedule the meet for everyone, for all of your students. These are the students I invited. These are the students who accepted the invite, and so on. Okay. So the whole process happened just by my single query. Got it? So this is what an agent will do for you if you use this. This is how an agent look like. Okay. So um, this is from Google's white paper. So you can be okay with that. Okay, here. So you can find this Google paper. I already shared the link in the roadmap. Okay, got it? So this is how the AI agent look like. Okay, got it? So let's go back here, and this is the flow I shared with you. And this is the thing that the most important today, that is building your first AI agent. So this is the part 2 of the whole session. Okay, I think you got the idea what AI agent is. It is going to automate certain things and take the decision by itself, use certain tools, and solve a particular problem. It can be a complex problem also. Okay, so um, how we are going to build this? Okay, so there are different tools available to us. Okay, there are different tools available to us through which we can create AI agents. Okay, for that, let me show you this. So in this case, we have certain tools, N8N, we have Die5, we have other builders also. Okay, so you can use different tools for that. Other thing you can do is you have building using Python frameworks. Okay, so this is another way you can do it, but this is not for today's session. So we'll cover that later on. Okay, but for now we can do this using a tool. It will be very easy for anyone to create these kind of models or AI agents. Okay, now today we are going to work on N8N. So N8N is a tool for you to use or create your AI agent. So let me show you Die5 first. So Die5 AI is again another tool. It's an open source. Okay, so you can use this particular tool to work with them. Okay, it's an open source tool, so you can find different parts here. You can create a lot of things. Okay, but we are not using this one. We are focusing on, you will also find other tools as well, like Vertex AI builder or Relevance AI, Make AI. Okay, but the best one I found was 8 and 8. That is this one. Okay, this is my tool, which is free, I think, for 15 days. Okay, N8N. Okay, so workflow automation tool. Okay, so you can check about this, how it works. I think this one is not open source, I guess so, and these are the pricing, but for initial 15 days you can create your own. Okay, but let's see. So I found this very simple to create. Okay, this is the interface it got, and what we are going to do is, let's create a personal workflow. Okay, so this is a workflow it is going to help me build. Okay, now what we are going to do, if you want to create any kind of flow, okay, right now I'm showing you how to create a simple one. You can go check out the documentation as well. Okay, but there are some extra things you are going to need. It can be this OpenAI API. It can be Pinecone for database. It can be Grok Cloud API. Okay, it can be Google AI Studio. So these are LLM platforms where you can access LLMs for your particular purpose. Okay, based on what type of agent you are building, or how powerful your agent you want to be. Okay, so based on that, it is going to give you you are going to use different parts, different platforms. Okay, so let's start with this one, and this is nothing but the uh, whole flow of it. Let me click on this one. So this is the first step. So it is giving me triggers. It is giving me different parts, that do you want to do the chat? Do you want to create any event, schedule something, or there's a lot of things. Okay, as you work on this one, you will understand this better, that what exactly you need. Okay, so you can take this example like Telegram, Notion, or a table. Okay, so if you want to create a flow for this particular type of applications, you can find it here. Okay, similar to that, you will find a lot of other things. So I'm just starting with the trigger. Trigger is nothing but somebody started your whole process. Okay, so this is my trigger. Okay, I'm not giving anything else to this one. Okay, it will give you if you want to play this, stop it, or if you want to delete this particular flow, and so on. Okay, you can rename this one. So this is our AI first AI agent. Okay, now with this, I'm going to click on this particular part. When I click on this, there's a lot of different options I have. Okay, from which I am going to access. There's an action in the app. So if I click on this, you will find that there are a lot of apps available here. Okay, these apps can be Calendly. Okay, Bubble. You can think of, let's say, CovertKit, which is for email automation. Okay, there can be Dropbox. Okay, some of the Figma is available here. Okay, GitHub, email, Gmail, what type of app you want to start your execution with. So I'm not using any app here. I'm using an AI agent. So for AI agent, you have this advanced AI building autonomous agents, summarize or documents, etc. Okay, so there's a lot of things you have in this flow. So I'm clicking on this one, and in this I have this option of using anything like AI templates. You have AI agent, generate an action plan, execute it. You have OpenAI, you have other question answering, summarization chain, and so on. Okay, there's other vector stores available, but for now I'm going to click on AI agent. Okay, so when you click on it, you will find what type of agent you want. So there are different types of agent available. It can be tools agent, conversational agent, plan and execute, react as I told you, reason and action, SQL agent to query those systems. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a tools agent which will decide which tool to execute. Okay, based on your complexity, you can access anything you want. Okay, so automatically I don't want to change anything here. That's it. I want a tools agent. Okay, if I go back, you can see there's an agent in my flow. Okay, when a chat message is received, it is going to uh, execute this particular AI agent. So it is giving me an error here, so I have to integrate this agent with different flows or different tools. Okay, now we have different options for this. We have chat model. As I told you that there's a orchestration layer which we are creating. There's memory to it, there's chat model to it, there are tools to it. So let me create the chat model first. Okay, for chat models, if you go for OpenAI, you need an API again. Okay, for Grok model, you can again want API. For Gemini chat model, you need an API. So let me click. You can create API very quickly. So let me click here, and it is, I think I already created an API. If you don't have an API, you can click here, create new credential, and you can paste your API here. Okay, you have to go to Google Studio and create your API if you want. So I already created API, so there's no issue. You can just click here, it will give you an API, copy that and come back to this platform, paste your key here and save. It will authenticate in a second and it will give you a list of chat models you are going to use. But by default, it is giving me this pro version. So I'm not adding anything. Okay. So let me double click on this one. Okay. So it is working fine. Okay. Now you can let me do this here. So this is my chat model. Now, chat model is something that if somebody enters any message, the agent is going to decide, or agent should understand what the user query is. To understand that, it is going to need the help of an LLM, which is this one, Gemini. Okay, you can access any LLM if you want. Okay, before that, after that, you need a memory. As I told you, memory can be anything. So I want a window buffer memory. Okay, it is going to store your chat and everything which is required here. I don't want to change anything. It is previous node and nothing is here. So that's it. This is what I want. So this is my window buffer memory. Okay, so if somebody interact with the system, it is going to use this memory to store that conversation. Okay, again, with this, let me click on tools. So there are a lot of tools available. We have call another workflow. For example, I'm creating multiple workflows here. So one workflow will do certain things for me. The other workflow will do some other thing for me, and so on. Okay. In a similar way, you have code tools available. If your agent is related to creating tools, okay, if your agent is related to creating any kind of tool, so you can jump to that particular part, use or integrate that tool with this. But for now, there's a lot of list here. Google Drive tools, it can be Google Sheet, or depends on what type of automation you want. So right now I'm focusing on this calculator and I don't want to give any parameter here. So calculator is calculator. So it is going to calculate this thing. One more thing you have to keep in mind, which is parameters. Okay, it is not showing anything. You can check the documentation if you want. But parameters are, let's say somebody told you, give me an output of 1000 plus 5000. Okay, so answer will be 6000. But these 5000 and 1000, both of them will be your parameters. Okay, just like you pass any parameter in any function available. Okay, so parameter selection is again the task of an AI agent. Okay, so what will be passed to this? Okay, so let me click on this particular part. So there are a lot of other tools you can integrate it with. So let me click on this one. Now, let me check if I have anything. I have one thing, that is vector store tool. Okay. Now vector store tool, what it is again, I told you in the flow that if you want to integrate it with any vector database, okay, this tool with any vector database or API or any kind of function, okay, what you can do is you can use that vector store. So for vector store, we have a platform called Pinecone. So let me click on this one first. Okay, and name this particular part. So I'm going to name this as Pinecone DB for books. So why I'm naming it as this. Limit is don't give anything else here. That is fine. Okay, you can give a description also. So let me give extract information from a book stored in Pinecone database. Okay, this is what this vector store tool is. So let me explain to you what exactly this means. So this is my Pinecone website. You can jump here. So there is a database. I created a database here. The database is called drive. Okay. So I already create this index. I can create only one. So if you click on it, it is nothing but I created a store. Okay. If I click on connect, so you can find this code here. So you can connect it with anything. And what this is just a vector database for your personal database. So let's say if you integrate this with your own data. For example, for assistant, what I'm doing is I created a assistant here on a book, and that book is nothing but let me show you. So this is the book. Okay, this is building LLM books. It's a 6 MB book. I uploaded it here. I can ask any question to this one. It will answer me based on this particular book. Okay, similar to that, you can create databases. You can add any kind of record if you want here. Okay, anything. So it is kind of any database which it will convert that into a vector database, and that vector database can be accessed anywhere through your agent. Okay, so this is what a vector store will look like. This is my vector store tool. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to give it access to two things. One is vector store. Okay, and the other one is again a model. Okay, just a second. I think just a second. All right.
Hello.
Hello.
Manshu, is there any network issue with your
Yes. Yes, there's an issue. Let me share it again. All right. Is this visible around? Okay. Let me get back to the tool. Okay. So as I was telling you that there's a vector store available. Okay. Now this vector store is going to um, convert your database into a vector representation so that the model will understand what exactly the user is asking, because I am creating it for my own um, agent. Okay, so that's the whole point here. Okay, let me connect this with a vector store. So there are a lot of different companies who are providing vector stores. So I'm using Pinecone for that. So if I click on it, it is going to ask me for the API. So I already created an API. If you don't have an API, jump to Pinecone and API keys, and you can easily create your API key and copy paste here just by clicking on new credential. Okay, so API process is similar, I just told you, and there are different options for it. I'm not changing anything here, and I can create from a list. So you can see based on my API, it is giving me this drive. Okay, let me go back here. So drive is nothing but the database I created here. Okay, so it is automatically fetching the information. So what I'm doing is clicking on drive. Okay, that's it. So this is what is happening here. My Pinecone store is connected. Okay, now it is again giving me an error. So let me jump here, and I have to add an embedding. So for embedding, you need a large language model. So for embedding purpose, I'm using Gemini. So Gemini is again going to access the same API I created. So if you don't have, you can create here, and through a single API, you can access all the different parts of any large language model. Okay. So in this case, it is using certain things. So right now it is fine. Okay, so it is not giving me an error because it is using the embedding part. Okay, that's it. This is my Pinecone vector database. And for the vector store tool, I'm going to access or give another tool here. Okay, so you can give any kind of tool, but right now I'm giving Grok chat model. It is again free. So uh, go to Grok, create an API, and I already created that API, and you can copy paste it if you want. Okay, so you have different options to integrate your model with. So for now, I already have a Grok account. It's free. You can directly use this. And there's a list of models available. You can select anyone. By default, I'm keeping it same. Okay. So this is a flow I created, assign certain tools to my agent. Okay. You can assign anything you want to add any application to it, whatever you want based on whatever flow it is. Okay. So this is again a huge topic on creating different parts for your AI agent. Okay, the thing is you can create any number of tools. So let me click on this one. Let's see if I find any other tool here. I also have Wikipedia. So I can create Wikipedia also. For Wikipedia, you don't need anything as a parameter. So it is going to directly give you a part here for Wikipedia. Okay, so anything user asks, which is not, the calculator is not needed, the database does not have that information, so it is going to jump to Wikipedia. Now think of AI agent as it is going to make a decision based on the query that whether it should go for the chat model, whether it should go for the buffer memory, whether it should use a calculator or a Wikipedia or a vector store. Okay, so let's say the vector store I created is my own. So if I ask in the query that send an automation email to my people, my student, so obviously those student information is not in the Wikipedia. In this query, I don't need a calculator. Okay, got it? Based on this LLM, it is going to understand what I'm trying to say. And based on that, it is going to jump to vector store because vector store may have my information because I created a vector store using Pinecone in which I uploaded certain data set. Okay. And for embedding, I'm using Google Gemini. Okay. In the whole process, it is going to jump to this particular section. Okay, got it? Based on the query, it is going to decide which tool to use. Okay, so let me test this workflow. I think I created a lot of things. You can add any number of tool or anything you want to integrate this with. Okay, got it? So I think you got the idea. Let me test this workflow if it is working fine. Okay. Okay, it is executing the workflow. Until that, let me chat with this. So you can directly chat with this. Let me show right here. Hi, do you know anything about um, Sachin Tendulkar? Okay, now Sachin Tendulkar is not part of my. It's a Sachin Tendulkar is a cricketer. Okay, and um, it's a very Sachin Tendulkar is a very big cricketer, and it this information will not be part of my vector store. Okay, so the agent will decide, okay, this information can be found on Wikipedia only. Okay, so let me click on this one. Just a second, it is taking some time.
So in the meantime, can you please share the
All right.
basically DROM
I think that is not available. I have to share it. Just a second, I'm
You might
sharing
need to save it and share it.
this particular flow. Just a second.
Yes.
So, are you in the newsletter group?
No, I don't think I'm there.
Okay, in which group you are in?
I just got this meeting invite over my email. So I joined.
Okay, so I will share with you. If you can join the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, sure, I'll do that.
So after the session, I will share all the links. So it will be accessible to all of you. So let me see if this
Okay.
is
Thank
working.
you.
Yeah. Just a second. So, okay, this is working. All right. Just a second, okay. All right, so I have to chat with this. Hi. All right, so it is working perfectly. So you can see the flow that I passed high here. Thank you. I am happy to help here. Okay. The cool thing about this is you can see the flow of the AI agent that it is using a window buffer memory. It is going to Google chat model for a response here. Okay. And it is saving in that particular memory. Okay. So this is your input. You can see it is giving you in the form of JSON file. Okay. This was the action. The input is this. And based on it, it is giving you a response. Okay. So this is your output. Okay. So this is what is happening here. But let's say based on it query whether it is going to decide which tool to use or not. Uh, um, can you multiply 16 with 2? Okay, I'm not passing 2 as a number, but TWO2. Okay, so it is going to, you can see the flow of it. It will go to LLM to understand what we are trying to say. Then again to calculator to calculate that particular part in this flow. And it is going to respond you with this. Okay, in many cases, the calculation will not be right if there is no tool with, or you are just accessing the LLM. So that's the big difference between an agent and an LLM. Okay. Now let me do one thing. Can you tell me anything, any song? Let me write different wrong spelling. Anything about Sachin Tendulkar. Okay. So it is going to the chat Gemini. Okay. Parameter issue. Are fetching from this particular thing cannot be empty. Okay. Let me pass another thing. Can you me about AI agents? Let me check. Model error. Okay, so there's a response issue. I think because of the let me do other thing. Uh, can you give me just a second? Let me delete this one. Delete this one as well. For chat model, I'm using Grok. So let's say if this Grok is going to give me an output. Okay. So I changed it. Can you give me information about um, Prime Minister of India? Let's check if it is going to respond something. Okay, so what is happening? It is saving certain information. Yes, the Prime Minister of India is currently Narendra Modi. That is correct. And you can see the flow of your AI agent. So it is picking certain things, going to Wikipedia, getting information, uh, re retrieve information and augment it. It is going to calculator also. I don't know why, but not giving you response in that way. But yeah, it is perfectly fine. Okay, for vector database, I don't think it is going to access that. But can you tell me about LangChain from the Pinecone database? Okay, let's see. Nodes are successfully executed. Please provide the result of the tool call. I will continue from there. Okay, so tool call information it is asking. Pinecone, it is accessing everything. Okay, that is fine. Perfectly fine. Okay, so it is working fine. Okay, so this is how you create your first AI agent. Okay, you can access different tools and based on which you can create different parts. Okay, now the thing with this is I don't want my model to uh, like do only this particular thing. Okay, I don't want my AI agent to do only a small thing like this, but this is for the starting point, but you got the idea what exactly happening. There can be some complex workflows, so we'll take a session on that one later on, but this is fine for today. Okay, now one more thing that we should focus on, which is failures, model failures. Okay, now what this model failures will look like. Okay, so there will be agent failure modes, there will be evaluation, there will be importance of testing and validation, and human oversight. Okay, when you talk about these model failures, there can be planning failures, just like this one. I gave you an example here. So in this, it is asking me what result you want. Okay, so there can be planning failure, that it is not going to plan correctly. There can be invalid parameters to any tools that I want to calculate, and I don't have any calculation values. Okay, so it is not going to judge that these are the two values I want to add. In this case, I want to multiply 16 and 2. Okay, so it is not going to judge this information from a user query. Okay, so these are the things that can cause a failure. There can be goal failure, that like this, it is not judging from this one what exactly I want from that particular tool. Okay, I haven't specified that one. Okay, for that we have to create everything step by step. Okay, when you talk about evaluation and failure, okay, there can be different failures available. There can be complex tasks that over time will increase. Okay, there are certain metrics, there are some valid plans, some valid tool calls, how many number of tool calls are available there, the frequency of invalid tools. Okay, so all these things will be part of evaluation methods. Okay, so in evaluation we generally do this in numerical format. Okay, so in numerical format we come up with okay, these number of tools are needed, or these are the right answers, these are true failures, these are false, true positive, false positive. We did in machine learning. Similar to that, it is going to use evaluation methods. Okay, it is going to analyze agents output. Okay, and everything based on it, it is going to judge whether it is correct or not. Okay, and importance of testing and validation is again the most important part. Okay, so you can do a comprehensive testing over this. Okay, so you can uh, identify different patterns of how it is responding to your queries. Okay, how it is responding to your queries. Is it correct? Yes, it is correct. Is it correct? No, it is asking the next step. Okay, you haven't clearly defined that. So these are the steps you should focus on. Okay, so one more thing is human oversight. Okay, so human oversight is you are including your knowledge with the AI agent in between, just like this one. It is asking you something in this flow. It is asking you, please provide the result of the tool call, and I will continue from there. Okay, so I only want the information. Okay, so you can see this particular part. The LangChain is a book written by no unknown author, and there's some certain things it is generating through the model. Okay, it is not using the database. Okay, so these are the things you should do when there is a human oversight available. So there is an approval going on. For example, if I asked the AI agent to schedule a Google webinar with all of you, it will ask whether to invite some of the students from other batch or beginners or not. So these are the questions it can ask back to a human, and then the human will approve it for better response. Okay, so these are the whole things uh, evaluation and failure modes you may encounter. Okay, so these are the things that we covered in this particular part. These are the second part. Okay, the next thing is some certain actions you should take. The actions can be, you can join the Discord community. Let me show you. So this is the Discord community from my name. and you will find 1,000 people in this community. You will find this different discussions. You can ask your questions. Okay. Any job updates, the newsletter updates you are getting. Okay. There are AI roadmaps, and you can join this voice channel anytime. If I am available or my teammate is available, they will join and answer your questions. Okay. So you can find different sections here. Okay. Similar to that, you will find free resources through the newsletter. Okay. So in that newsletter, you will find different updates as I am sharing with you guys. Okay. There's a GitHub profile. This is my GitHub profile. I got a lot of different um, job offers from this particular profile. Okay. Generally, people don't have this much of followers um, on your coding part. If you are doing engineering, you have an engineering background, so this is a must. Okay. So this way you can demonstrate what exactly you have done over the years. Okay. Different parts you can showcase your work from. Okay. One more thing I want to share with you, that is I'm creating an AI engineering content which will be free for all of you. Okay. These are the sections I'm going to cover and update over as I move forward. So this is the old data science content I shared earlier, but I'm updating it in 2025. The first video will be released, I think today, okay, of Python. So these will be 4-hour sessions that you can follow and learn from here. You can see there are 3.5 stars on this repo. Okay, it's an open source also. If you want to add anything, there are some of the people are sharing or adding things. So if you want to do that, it's an open source, so you can do that also. Okay. So newsletter updates will be available to you as you already subscribe to it. Okay. If you need specific topics to be covered, you can share your questions with me. I will happy to share my views and opinions or any kind of insights or research for it, and add that into my newsletter. Okay. So you can check that out. And here are certain things I can help you with, which is Dexter. So Dexter is AI engineering and consulting company. So we are providing these services from years now, and we have worked in different industries like energy sector, healthcare, homeopathy. We worked with semiconductor giants, and so oil and gas. So these are the industries we worked with. Some of the projects we are working on currently, and these are the things. Some of the products also we are working on in AI. Okay. Um, Along with that, if you are a leader, so you can join the Leadership Academy. And one of the part that I covered today is this. Okay, this is from today's session. You will find everything here. So this is a bootcamp for neurons to generative AI. So if you are a leader or a professional, you can join this. There are certain sections which are free, so you can access those sections through modules, and some are not. So if you can join, if you want to join, you can join these sections. Okay, let me know if you want to join this. All the information will be available to you in this case. Okay, so okay.
So Himanshu, is this available on your newsletter? I joined your newsletter. I subscribe to that.
Yeah, I will share one email with all of you after the session, in which you will find all the links related to this particular session, as well as extra sessions how I can help you. Okay,
Sure.
so you
Thank
will find all the links. Yes. One more thing I'm working on, that is Master Dexter. That's a platform for AI education. So right now we are providing services for enterprise. So let me know if you want to um, integrate AI knowledge with your company. One more thing I can help you with is sponsorship. So I have 50K professionals across platform. And one more thing I can help you with is newsletter. Okay, which is free. So you can access that newsletter, you're already part of that newsletter, I think. If not, you can access that. Okay. And last thing, if you have any questions, you can ask. Okay. The session is recorded. And if you ask any questions, that is also the part of recording. Okay. So if you have any questions, please ask.
I am Anshu.
Yes.
Thanks. So, Anshu, I have two questions in the chat box. And if you have a look at that.
Just a second. Let me check on my. So the first question is, do agents work on the concept of reinforcement learning under the hood? Reinforcement learning under the hood. Okay, that's a good question.
Yeah, because I have this question because you mentioned about the feedback thing, right? So at that time, the strike in my mind, like if it is like it works on reinforcement learning.
Hmm. Well, if I talk about reinforcement learning, the methods that are used in that particular field of machine learning is a little bit different. So there are Makarov model, there are different patterns techniques be used in that. But as I told you, there are some other steps going on in this for reasoning and planning. Okay, so React is there, chain of thoughts is there. If you talk about and feedback and action, you can relate to reinforcement learning, but this is not exactly that. Okay, there's a updated versions that we are using in this case. Okay, so this is not exactly reinforcement learning, but yeah, you can relate to it, but it is not exactly same. Okay, because we have better way to reinforce the learning. The better way we have in this is models, LLMs, which are more powerful than that method. And reinforcement learning is the third part of your machine learning category. Okay, supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement. Okay, so that is a little bit different. Okay. All right, so next question is, LLM models are already using online resources to give the response, then how agents are working different using those online resources? Okay, that's again a good question. So LLM models are already using online resources. So, okay. Now the thing is how they are different. If I ask an LLM about anything, even if it is not trained on that data, it is going to give me a response. Okay, it is going to give me a response, and that response can be integration of any external data sources. So for example, if I ask who is the prime minister today, or what is the stock price of a particular company today, so it is going to search on the internet and give me a response. So that is what augmented generation, retrieval augmented generation, which will you easily have. But you cannot have the access of some automation. You will get a response, which is fine, but it is not going to access the tools, automate something for you, give generated response. It is not going to um, replicate yourself automatically. Okay. So as I told you, if I want to schedule this webinar for all of you, I can do this in one single statement through my WhatsApp. So if I give a statement, it is going to automate everything, send all of you an invite. Um, it is going to schedule the time. It is going to do everything for me just with my one instruction. Okay. LLM cannot do this because I don't want an LLM to have the access for this one. LLMs are good with English language, so it will help me give instruction to a particular large language, particular AI agent. Okay, it is not the whole system. It is only give you a response. Okay, so for reasoning and doing planning, you need LLM, but not only using not only LLM, it is not going to give you a whole automation workflow. Okay, so that's the major difference. So another question is, can you also suggest open source that can be used for creating AI products? So there are different open source projects available. Most of them are open source because everything is going on right now is research. Okay, so this is again open source. I told you this DiFi. So you can use DiFi for creating agents, which is open source. Okay, similar to that, there is other tools available. You have LangChain, which is open source. Okay, LangChain is open source, so you can use this. This is mostly for coding, but they come up with one more thing, which is Langflow, I think. Okay, low code AI builder for agentic and RAG applications. Okay, so you can use Langflow also. I think it is in testing mode right now, but you can check this. I haven't tried this one. It is similar to what we use today, similar to this one. Okay, so you can use Langflow also. This is open source. All right, so this drawing will be shared with you. Don't worry, it is part of the whole thing. So just a second. This part of this, so you can find it here, or I will share the SVG version with you. So SVG version, I think I shared. No. So I will share with you the SVG version of this. Okay. Yes. So community edition, I think they are giving you only for 15 days. You can see this 7 days left for free trial. So that's the whole point here. Okay. Okay. Is there any way to get code? I think it is not open source. Not I think, but N8N is not an open source. Let me open this on GitHub. Okay, fair code, workflow automation or native capabilities, 400 plus integrations. NX NPX is available. Okay, so development mode is available in this. Let's check the documentation. Okay, so yes, so you can use this for this particular automation, but that is fine. Yes, recording of the sessions will be shared. AI agent for research scholars. So for research purpose, you have to create your own agent for your own specific purpose. Okay, for now you can go for Notebook LM. Okay, so Notebook LM is by Google. So you can use this Notebook LM for uh, doing research. Okay, so it has some cool features with it. So you can use that as well for research purpose. All right. All right. So any other questions you have? All right. So I think you got the whole idea. So thank you so much for joining the webinar. And if you have any kind of questions, you can ask through email. You can reply to my newsletter. I'll reply to all the emails, as well as in the WhatsApp community. You can ask your questions, and whatever topic you want me to cover in the next newsletter, you can ask there as well. Okay, and you can join the weekly sessions on Discord. You can directly join the Discord if you have any questions. So either my teammates will answer you, or I will answer you. So don't worry about it. and you will find other people also from different positions in the companies, so you can ask questions to them as well. Okay, so any kind of job dates and anything, any kind of update you will find in the Discord as well as other groups. Okay, so if you have any questions you can ask, and if you're not, you can ask us later on in the community also. Okay, so thank you so much for joining. It was an amazing session for me. Okay, so thank you. Bye bye everyone.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Have a good day.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye bye.
Good day to you.